Here's the start of my mini talk. So I shared a vulnerable voice note. And then the moment I sent it, I got all of these downloads. Okay. So zooming out, in case any of your littles are scanning, how stable is Judy? Can I make the times meet? It has not to do with this. It doesn't have to do with the change of scheduling or anything. It has to do with how do you make sense of the data? Okay. Because it's relevant to how you take care of you too. I believe it is possible to take care of both, meaning some people might be disappointed, and that's okay because that's work that they need to work on. Okay. It's not healthy boundaries in the sense that everyone else around you is happy. That is not it. It is also not everyone around you is comfortable. That is absolutely not it. Okay. It's understanding how to stay in same size, trusting that the other person will too. Okay. Which doesn't mean they don't expand in circle size or shrink down at any time. Perfection is not the goal. And it is addictive as fuck. Okay. Perfection is addictive as fuck because there is this moment of the jackpot. And it's like, oh my God, everything's great and I'm good. And it feels good. It floods your body with all these feel good hormones. Okay. So zooming out, what I'm wanting to do in these spaces is to teach you how to learn how your body works and how your body adapted to how you were raised, not only in your family of origin, but in your ancestry. Everyone's ancestry is different, and it's going to impact how we behave and how our nervous system responds differently. The incredible thing is, we end up in relationships with people, colleagues, children, partners, friends, who replicate dynamics that are present in our family of origin, in our childhood, and in our ancestry. Because we're here to live and to evolve and to grow means there needs to be some friction. Butterflies don't come out of a cocoon because they're like, oh, I'm just going to wait to see when the circumstances are right. Okay. Butterflies get out of the cocoon. No, I'm sorry, not cocoon, chrysalis, excuse me. Because they fight their way out. It strengthens their wings and it dries their wings as they fight their way out. Okay. This is the same thing that we're doing here on the planet. Okay. What the cycle breakers do is we learn how to clear out the muck, all the adaptations to understand at the core, who am I really? And what I'm realizing with this break, and I've taken multiple breaks, what I'm realizing with this one is I won't fully know until I allow myself to disappoint and learn to tolerate that in my body. Regardless of how anyone else responds to me, I keep myself safe psychologically and emotionally. If I were to be picked up by ice, if I were to be harmed by a tank or whatever, my body would be harmed, but my emotional boundary, my psychological boundary, who I really am at the core, will never be touched. And that only happens when you allow a lot of friction to be who you really are, and it rubs people in different ways. And when I allow myself my full humanity, and I hold myself and keep myself safe from the critic that is my adaptive teenager who wants to uphold the system or vilify me, when I'm able to keep myself safe, I learn to trust my functional adult. I learn to actually understand what it means to stay true to myself. I started these groups 2 years ago. There's been huge changes in some of the members, right? Leaving high-powered jobs and creating their own lives of acting and now food industry, stuff that they've never considered for themselves. because they chose to disappoint someone else instead of themselves. But this rewiring takes time. It takes layers because the nervous system program of fight, flight, or freeze is there for a reason to protect you. But when you are mired in protective mechanisms, when you are mired in seeing everyone as unsafe, when you are mired in tiptoeing around to see how everyone else responds to you, you're not living. You're just waiting in a cocoon for someone to welcome you. Like a chrysalis. You're waiting in a chrysalis for someone to say it's time. And don't stop waiting, okay? Okay, so that was one nugget I got. The other nugget I got is, so I had said I'm going to take all of July off. And then I'm like also learning more and more about my neurodiversity, which is ADHD and possibly autism, but more like complex PTSD. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay. I'm just learning how my wiring works. What happens is if anyone makes a mistake, my natural thing is bad or judgment, right? I've had to do a lot of work to be in this space of non-judgment, unconditional love. It has taken me a really long time. For me, not for the people I work with, okay? For me, what happens is to allow closeness, vulnerability for someone else to care for me like I care for them means there's a level of threat. People who come to these groups didn't necessarily have wonderful relationships with their parents or caregivers, okay? So the harm happened with the most intimate person in our lives. And what we're learning is not to blame them, not to shame them, not to elevate them or minimize them. We're learning to see them in their humanity within the context of oppressive systems. Oh, they withdrew their love when they were upset because that's what happens in the larger society. If someone in a community stepped out of line, the whole community would be punished. So the community for that community withdrew love or exiled that person if they stood up against power. Oh, I understand now. So when we see the context in which people were raised and we apply love and healthy boundaries there, we can see their humanity. When we disappoint others and are able to hold ourselves accountable for the pain and still hold the boundary, we hold ourselves and our humanity alongside theirs. We don't elevate them. We don't elevate us. We are just traveling alongside going, I understand you're disappointed and I can't do that. Right? What is happening as I'm walking towards the break is I am melting inside. I'm panic attacking. I am like not sleeping. It is so intense. And what I'm doing mindfully and with the learnings from these groups is I'm holding myself in unconditional positive regard. I am not believing. I was for a long time. I'm not believing that I'm defective or insane or broken. Okay. It's hard to do collective trauma work in a silo. I believed that I was defective. I believed I was hurting people. I believed all of these things because I wasn't connecting with someone else with a clear nervous system. Every time I would say something, other people would try to fix me. Right? Or every time I would say something, they would get defensive because it's about them. And it's not. It's about the dynamic. I need people to see the dynamic. So the reason why I made the ask was to go, I think I need tethering. Not just me, because when we help each other, we're actually resourcing ourselves. We're not here just to be on our own. We're here in social connection. We're social creatures. So when we show up for each other, like I show up for each of you each week, right? I'm taking care of me by taking care of, not of like a child, but taking care alongside each of you, right? That's the big thing about the way that I work is I am very transparent about how human I am. Okay? Because I want to keep giving permission for everyone else to be as human as they are too. It's interesting in the space of lucidity, right? It comes and goes. I'm really grateful for all of the panic, all of this discomfort of, can I trust myself to have a free schedule for a month, or will I waste it? The programming runs so deep, and there's no way for me to uncover it without a break, to just go, that is so interesting. There's still, and then I get to check it out. There's still food in the fridge. There's still electricity on in the house. My kids are still talking to me, right? To be able to sit with the discomfort and then check it out with actual data is so valuable because our brains make our reality. Our brains make our reality. So the last thing I want to say is in these groups, I'm going to really shift focus towards future focused, right? Strengths, not a lot of excavating, right? Because excavating actually activates the nervous system and can sometimes feel re-traumatizing, right? So I'm integrating the stuff that I'm learning in all the groups because it hones my skill. It hones the way that I work so that it doesn't need to be as intense as sometimes past therapy used to be. Okay. Yeah. So let me see. I think that's it. I'm really happy to be here. And it's less about the decision and more about the ask and what it feels like to. I've done other asks before, but yeah, that's the end of my mini talk. Everyone take a sip.